A common question with the Microsoft Whiteboard is where are they stored and is there a way that I can access them? And that's what we're going to take a look at in this lesson. So you'll notice that I have my Whiteboard app opened here, and you'll notice that I have several whiteboards underneath this account that I've created, and some of those whiteboards have little blue circles on them. Those are whiteboards that I'm part of, but that I don't own. So I will not have access to the underlying files for those whiteboards. But other whiteboards like the Sailboat Planning Session, Whiteboard for Educators, the Data Overview Whiteboard, those are my whiteboards and I do have control over those files. Where are those files? They're in OneDrive. So if I go to my OneDrive and I can log in through a web interface, if I go into My Files on OneDrive, you'll notice there's a folder called Whiteboards. Now, if you have a lot of different folders and such on your OneDrive, it may take a little bit for you to find it, but it's alphabetical, so it's underneath Whiteboards. And when I click on that and open up that folder, notice that the whiteboards that appear on my app are all listed here underneath Whiteboards. There's a bit of a difference though. Notice here that all of my whiteboards are arranged in chronological order, in the order that I last opened them. But here on OneDrive, they're all listed in alphabetical order, numerical alphabetical order. That is something that would be really nice to be able to toggle on and off here on the app, but for now, the app will be all chronological order. But if I want alphabetical order, if I'm looking for a whiteboard, I can actually go in and find it here. Now, another thing that I can do is actually launch a whiteboard directly from OneDrive. So let's say I want to open up the Sailboat Planning Session. I can do things like I can rename it, I can move it around, I can make it a favorite, I can go in and share out that whiteboard. I can do things like I can make it a favorite in here. So there's lots of things I can do, but if I just click on it, it'll open it up in a web browser. So now I have the web interface to the whiteboard. I've been doing most of the lessons in this course all on the app, but we do have the web interface, which can come in very handy because I can make changes directly by going into OneDrive, selecting an alphabetical whiteboard from the list and bringing it into OneDrive. Over here, I could go in and I could open up the same whiteboard, and this is actually pointing to the same file. In fact, if I go over here by the shark, you'll notice that it sees that somebody is using their app to access this whiteboard. It's myself, Bruce Wayne. And if I go to the whiteboard over here, go over by the palm tree, you'll notice that my name appears here. The app is telling me that somebody is currently on the whiteboard using the web interface. It's me, it's Bruce Wayne on both sides. Although I'm not Bruce, I'm Frank, but you know that. Anyways, my account. So you can see here that I have this. I can go into the whiteboards and I can do things like rearrange them. Well, I could rename them and that would rearrange them. You'll also notice that I have a folder called components. So in a previous lesson, I showed you how we could insert loop components into the whiteboard. That's where those loop components live. And I have a couple of additional folders that I've created. We'll look at those in a future lesson. So we have this ability to work with the files of the whiteboard. Now we also can go and have OneDrive loaded onto my computer. So in my case, I have the OneDrive whiteboards synchronized with my computer. That's a OneDrive option. So when you go into your OneDrive and you set it up on your computer, you can choose which files are going to be synchronized, which ones are going to be downloaded. So in my case, I also have a copy of all of my whiteboards and my components and everything here on my local computer. And if you go here and double click, it will actually go in and it'll open up the whiteboard file as well. But in this case, again, it'll invoke it through a web app. So Microsoft Whiteboard prefers to launch as a web app, but again, I have the ability to go into my app, my downloaded Windows app here, and I can open up different whiteboards as well. And if I go here, I'll just go back and close these whiteboards down. So you can see I'm on my web app. You can see I have it in my file system. And this is going to open up a lot of possibilities for me to manage things. Notice that they are stored as a whiteboard file, so the extension is .whiteboard. That can be a little bit of a challenge because it is a proprietary format, and in a future lesson, I'll show you how we can actually take our whiteboard once we've finished with it and put it into a file format that's going to be a little more useful for us to share. But that's an upcoming lesson. Meanwhile, you can see the app, OneDrive, and my local copy of my OneDrive all have my whiteboard files in there, and that's going to allow me to move on to the next lesson where I show you how we can use this to our advantage.